And we're back on South Texas Crossfire. This is attorney Joe Flores reminding you to join us each and every week. We're going to get on part 2 of Gerald Treece, the dean here at South Texas and the most winning advocacy school in the nation, 100th national title here in a moment. But what we were talking about in the last half of our show, if you're just joining us for this part of the show here, the next 27 minutes, we're going to be talking about advocacy. And you never know where an interview is going sometimes. And what we started dovetailing into was all the advocacy victories and all the countless students that have gone through this school who become great judges, who become great advocates. And then we went into the legal needs and a passion that Gerald Treece has, the dean here at South Texas College of Law, and for legal clinics and issues. And also that when we were talking about that was that he had his own show too, and I want to bring out some of those topics. So welcome back.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank
and
you.
Most of your sponsors were former students of mine.
Top Gun Peyton Body, now you probably got him pumped up. Johnny Gaskins may want to go back to law
I have to get Johnny here.
He was an insurance adjuster. He's
part of the law.
Yeah, that's right. He's part of the law.
What Joe was talking about, though, is important because for the last 14 years, we have done a show here in the Houston area called The Legal Journal. And part of that, it's on the CBS affiliate in Houston. It's picked up on Texas Cable News as well out of Dallas. So it goes across the state. And the major characteristic of this show is while we talk about a legal topic that week, then people start calling in or they email in with questions. And you had asked me what were the hottest questions or what are the biggest questions or the type of questions we get. And the number one area has been in the area of debt collection and credit collection. Here's the situation. Here's a guy sitting out here who got in trouble financially. He owes a lot of credit card debt. The credit card company is threatening to do terrible things to him. Usually the credit card company sells that debt to a debt collection agency. The debt collection agency then starts huffing and puffing and threatening to do terrible things to the person who owes this money. Now, I'm not telling you don't pay your debts. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you get yourself into that box, number one, don't be led by fear. These companies start calling you and saying it's criminal. They're going to put you in jail. They're going to do these terrible things to you. Listen very carefully. In the state of Texas and in the United States of America, you cannot be put in jail for non-payment of a debt unless it's one of two things: not paying child support or not paying the tax man. If you're not paying the IRS and you're not paying child support, that's a different proposition. But because you're not paying your debts, that is what Joe refers to in the show as a civil matter. It's not a criminal matter. So number one, move out of the line of fire any thought about any criminal responsibility. On the civil side, the first thing you should do after you drink your favorite beverage and stop worrying about it so much is to ask in writing that debt collection company to verify, V-E-R-I-F-Y, verify that debt. Now what does that mean? That means usually these debt collection companies can't do that because they have no clue what the basis of this debt is. They just bought a sum of money to collect, and they're hoping to get as much out of you as they can. Under the Federal Debt Collection Act, if they can't verify that, they can't do one more thing to you. That's the second thing to do. The third thing to do, if they do verify the debt, work with these people. Just try to work with them. Let me tell you a secret. They don't want to file suit either. Because if they file suit, the likelihood of them getting anything goes way down. So the point, I think we need to understand to not let fear govern those things called debt collection. While you ought to pay your debts, all of us at one time or the other get behind the 8 ball to where we get in some financial trouble. Don't go out and second mortgage things or borrow things from your Uncle Joe or anything of the sort. Just deal with it because the company is motivated to deal with you as well.
Well, very well said. And I handle those every day as we've got our, practice down over there. And
do you see a lot of those cases?
Absolutely. Every day, because of the show and because of my practice, and I'm pretty much around the courthouse, a lot. We see a lot of people with these very problems. And Dean Treece, I'm taking notes here on the playbook because it is true. Verify the debt. And half the time, if you get a lawyer who can help you out, when I've called and said verify the debt and I start raising Cain and pushing back, well, guess what? There's no guarantees, but they lower that debt some because they don't want to go to court either. And especially they say, where'd this lawyer come from?
That's right.
To help people. And the people I get are the elderly. We've got the poor that we just got to throw them a stick. They're drowning. And sometimes as a lawyer, all it takes is a couple of hours of phone calls and a couple of letters and some saber rattling and sis boom bye, easy cheesy Japanesey. We got a settlement. And
but don't you also see how they're threatening people with jail, with criminal sanctions?
Deportation. In my neck of the woods, I've had people say that, hey, you sound, and I had a teacher that I'm looking at right now. I had a teacher who they called up and said, your English is so badly accented, I can't believe you're a citizen of the United States. And I said, I can't believe my ears either. And I can't believe you're educated. I said, give me that phone. Let's go ahead and talk to, I forget his name, Mr. Jones Collect or something. But anyway, we got on there, we got his boss on the phone. We also put it in writing. They, of course, vehemently denied anything like that. But this lady, you could just tell when you get clients and you've been around long enough, you can read people that aren't exaggerated. And she truly was exaggerated. She was tearful. And these people called you don't have to take their calls at work. You could tell your employer to tell them to stop that. And that's where people get harassed, and they will do anything short of saying go to jail, because they're starting to learn that if they say go to jail, but still some do it. We've even seen some of these around the corner kind of fly-by-night, cash your check, advance people, send out goons to people's houses, put their foot in the door. And this is gospel truth. We've had people that have come in, and this is the worst, and it's getting even worse with these subprime mortgages. And I don't care who says a Democrat or Republican, I think we're in a recession. But the Dean is absolutely right. What Dean Treece has been saying is debt collection is just one of those areas that we've been talking about. We need legal clinics, Dean, because we are not getting those. A lot of lawyers say, well, I don't have the time, I'm so busy, and a lot of that is true. But we've got to do it. And if you're not just Albert Schweitzer over here, you can think about it as, I helped out grandma. Guess what, practitioner? She's got about 100 people she's going to tell at a barbecue, that nice young man or nice young lady helped me out. Y'all go to him. And that's how doctors get referrals.
Well, that's how lawyers have been doing it I'm from West Texas, from the middle of Odessa area, and that's how all the lawyers out there also did it.
Teams.
Yeah, that's right, but also because it was the right thing to do. And in the area that if you are getting intimidated or frightened by people, be careful too, because a lot of them just outright lie to you. They say they're with the ABC law firm, and they don't even know a lawyer. These credit collection companies, they're just lying to you to scare you. But the big rule that you get out of watching this show, unless it's a child support obligation, and that won't be a debt collection agency, that'll be the Attorney General calling you, and you need to take them seriously, because they can do some bad things to you, but you ought to pay your child support. And with the IRS, you just don't mess with the IRS. If you're not paying them, that's a totally different show for a different day. But we're just talking about garden variety debts that accumulate and what you should and shouldn't do. Did you also know that the state of Texas is one of those states that creditors don't like because debtors have so many remedies in this state?
Thank goodness.
Did you know that, no matter what, if you sue me and get a judgment against me, you cannot garnish. Under our Constitution, you can't garnish wages in Texas. And garnish wages, what that means is if you lose a lawsuit and someone gets a judgment against me for $10,000, they can try to collect my non-exempt property, like bank accounts in my name. They can't go after either my homestead or my wages. And so this is a state, very much like Florida, that creditors don't like to deal with, because we, the debtors, have many rights, but if you don't know them, what good do they do you? If you don't know your rights by contacting a lawyer and letting them tell you, look, that's nonsense, they're just bullying you, they're scaring you, then just calm down. There's not much they can do to you in the state of Texas if you're behind on paying debts. That's why they're motivated to work with you if you have a lawyer.